Hey guys, Ballman here. This is a video on how to install Seafile on OpenMediaVault, following the tutorial on the OpenMediaVault forums. I've got my putty installed over here and connected to my OpenMediaVault server. So let's get into it. We're just going to copy and paste into the terminal. Okay. Okay, now we're updated, so let's move on to the next step. We need to create a user to install Seafile with. That's done. Now we need to create the data folders for MySQL and Seafile, which we can do through OpenMediaVault. So go into OpenMediaVault, click on Shared Folders, and click Add. Okay, so we've created the folders. Now it says to install the MySQL plugin if not already installed. And I don't have it installed, so we're going to go to Plugins. Search for the plugin, select it, and install it. I should also mention that you'll need to have the OMV Extras add-on installed in OpenMediaVault before the MySQL plugin or the Nginx plugin will become available to you. There's more information on that in the forums. Okay, that's installed. Now we need to enable the MySQL plugin and select the data directory for it. So we'll go into the MySQL plugin, select the data directory, click enable, save, and then apply. Okay, so moving down, it says that we need to change the MySQL root user password because the default one is blank and Seafile can't install with a blank password. So just again copy the line and paste it in. The password here is blank, so just click enter, don't put anything in there. Now we need to change the password using this line here, so copy it, paste it, but before you hit enter, you need to change this bit here to your password. I'm just going to put test for the purpose of this video and hit enter. Then we're going to make sure that it changes all the root users' passwords for MySQL. And we're going to flush the privileges and then exit MySQL. Okay, that's done. Now we need to install all the Python packages, and you need to copy the code using this button here to make sure you get a clean copy. And paste it in, hit enter, hit Y for yes and enter. Okay, so Python's installed. Now we need to install Seafile, but to do that we need to change to the Seafile user that we created earlier. So copy that in, paste. Then we need to change to the user directory. Okay, now we need to download Seafile for the version of the system that we're installing it on, and I'm using a 64-bit system, so I'm going to copy this line here and paste it in and hit enter. Okay, so then again we're just going to keep copying and pasting. Okay, step 3, keep copying and pasting. Now we're going to run the Seafile installation by copying and pasting this line. You click enter. Okay, and here we are at the Seafile installation. Enter. Now choose a server name. I'm just going to put test server. The IP address of my OpenMediaVault server, or in your case yours. Enter. Now the directory you need for this is the directory that we created earlier, and the easiest way to find out what yours is to go into SFTP and browse through your folders until you find your folder, and then you can just copy and paste it in. You can see that if you go into the media folder, you'll find your volumes, then click on the volume and then click on Seafile data, and then just copy the line from there and paste it in. Now Seafile can't create a folder called Seafile-data because it already exists, so you need to put a slash and then another subfolder called data and hit enter, and then default for the ports. Now you need to choose option 1 to initialize the databases. So option 1, default is localhost, so just hit enter again, and default for the ports, so enter again. Now you need the root MySQL root user password that we changed earlier in this step here, the one that we did for this bit. Mine was test. Hit enter to connect. Now it says enter the name for MySQL user of Seafile. So this is the user that Seafile will use to connect to MySQL to save its data. So I'm going to create a user called Seafile, and I'm going to choose the same password. You should use something different. So test. Now we click default for all of the database names. So just enter, enter, and enter for the 3 databases. And then enter again to finish. That's it. Seafile has installed. So now we go down to the next step. You don't need to do this line if you're still in the same terminal. If you've rebooted for some reason and you're in a different terminal, then you need to go back in as the Seafile user before you continue on. So you don't need to do either of those lines if you're already in the same terminal. So copy and paste. it's done. And we copy and paste the next line. It's done. Now we're going to create an admin account to use with Seafile, the master account. So I'm going to use admin at mydomain.com. Obviously that doesn't exist. I'm just using it for the purpose of this video. Enter. And the password again, I'm just going to use the same thing. Test. And again. And that's it. Now from this point you could open up port 8000 in your firewall and go ahead and access Seafile remotely, but I wouldn't suggest that you do that because it wouldn't be very secure without SSL. But as you can see here, if I open the OpenMediaVault up on port 8000 on my local IP that I put in earlier, I can actually access Seafile. Now this bit's really easy. Just copy and paste, and then scroll down, and again use the copy buttons to get a clean copy. Copy, and then paste, and then Control O to save, enter, and then Control X to exit. Okay. So part 3, start Seafile at system boot. So we need to be the root user to do this next bit. So we need to SU and the password for your OpenMediaVault server, your root password. And then you'll need to change to the root directory. And then copy this line here to download your startup file. So we'll download it, enter it. And again, once that's downloaded, you can just go ahead and copy and paste line by line. Enter. Copy, paste, copy, paste, and then reboot to make sure Seafile starts up with your system. Okay, so OpenMediaVault has rebooted and we're ready to check and see if Seafile has booted up with the system. So we'll go back here and refresh. And you can see that it still has loaded up, and we can log in just to confirm. And you can see that it has loaded up with a fresh install. Okay, so the next part of the process is to create a SSL certificate to use with Seafile. So let's do that. So we're going to OpenMediaVault, SSL certificates, SSL, click Add, Create. I'm just using my domain as a pretend domain for now. You can put your city and state. I'm going to put Australia because that's where I'm from. Obviously you can put all your correct information in these. Save. So my certificate's done. and apply. Okay, so the next step is to install Nginx. So we'll go back to the OpenMediaVault interface and go down to plugins. You'll need to make sure you've got the OMV Extras add-on installed before you'll get the ability to add Nginx. So as a plugin, just click it and install. Okay, so that's installed. All right. Now we've just got to add a server to Nginx, copying these images. So down to Nginx, go to servers, click add. Now these are all default. You don't need to put a directory in here because Nginx is only running as a proxy. It's not actually hosting any website, so you don't need to worry about that. And this port will be overridden as well, so you don't need to worry about that. You need to enable SSL. I'm going to put the port in as 8444 because that's what we're using for the tutorial. Select the certificate I created earlier. Force SSL, which then turns off port 80 once that's forced. The rest is default. Then you just need to copy, using the copy buttons for a clean copy, all of this, and then paste it into the extra options at the bottom. So paste, click save, and apply, and then go to settings and enable Nginx. And that's it. Now this address here won't work until we've changed the value of fast CGI to true, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. So there's no point even testing that at the moment. This should still work as it is. Okay, so now we need to log back on to our terminal. Oops. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if this next bit actually helps, but I think it does with restart issues in Seafile. So we'll do that anyway, and I suggest you do the same. So do the apt get clean. Okay, now we're going to change that value from false to true, the fast CGI value from false to true. So copy this line, paste, and then enter, and then copy this line, copy and paste, and hit enter, and it should restart. I'll show you how to fix that warning in a second as well. Okay, so now this address here should be working. So let's open that up and see if it works. Okay. And there we go. We have Seafile running on HTTPS on SSL. This one here now won't work. If we refresh it, it should have stopped working. It doesn't work anymore. Okay. You can go back to that by changing the value of fast CGI back to false if you want to. Now to fix the warning, this warning that we get, over here. We just do this. This is optional. So go all the way down to English. And add UTF, that one there. Spacebar to select, and then tab across and click OK. And then select your one and hit enter. And then to check that worked, you can just restart Seafile again. And it should just restart without issue. And there we go. And that should still be working, as you can see. Okay. So the next step is you can now log into Seafile using your SSL address and port that you selected during the setup. And you'll need to open that port in your firewall for remote access. So if you're using port 8444, you'll need to open that in your modem's firewall to access Seafile remotely. So to do that, we're already in there anyway, so we're already logged in. So we need to change these lines here under the settings. I can't actually use it because I'm using a pretend domain name, but I'll put them in and show you anyway. So go here to admin and click settings and then change these addresses. So this one needs to be HTTP, as you can see, S needs to be HTTPS mydomain.com and the port number I selected earlier. Click the green tick to save. And then this one down here needs to be HTTPS //my.com /8444, but it needs to have on the end of it /SEAF/HTTP, and click save. This is to help with uploading files remotely. Once you've changed this address, this is the address you want to use to upload files. If you don't use this address, you won't be able to upload files. So even if you're local, you need to use this address. If you're remote, you need to use this address to upload files into Seafile via the either the client or the web interface. And that's it, folks. So good luck, and I'll see you in the forums.